So, I decided this time to do a backtrack vlog. If you'll have seen my video that was posted that is due for the 8th to the 14th of January, you will notice that this video was meant to be before, but because of all the editing software going haywire, everything got corrupted and I couldn't actually post the video, so I'm re-filming this entire video. So this has been done after I've posted the last video, so hopefully I don't have to explain a lot of things. I'm going to explain some things just in case. As I've said, this is a bit of a backtrack vlog. I'm doing this because I wanted to start it on the first week of January, but because I was quite busy with work and other commitments, I really couldn't do that. So I decided to start now. I would backtrack everything, start again from the first week, so that I could keep a log of it. If you wanted to watch me, you could keep a log of where I was at, and also it'd be really good just to have it on file where my reading was at each point. So I've decided to do this, and so for the first week, the 1st to the 7th of January, I read The Tattooist of Auschwitz by Heather Morris, and I actually really enjoyed it. I only read the one. Currently in my 3rd week at the moment of January, and I'm going to be reading 3 books at once. I think I've explained before that's not something I typically do, but I wanted to give it a go, but I wanted to get through this first. This was a book that my book club decided to read. It's a good book. I really did enjoy the book. I'm a bit half and half. I don't really like saying that I didn't enjoy the book, because I did enjoy it, but it's not my type of book. I feel as though this needs to be made clear. The book itself is very good, but don't base whether you read it off of me if you like this type of book. I'm not a person that typically reads historical fiction or any sort of historical book. Things that have happened in real life, they don't really interest me. In the nicest way, I really feel like real life's a little bit boring. So I go to books really that are more fantasy based. Ironic, I don't really read fantasy that often, but I read books that are thrilling, and it's real, but it stretches the imagination a bit. You know, there's some creative license in there. For example, a lot of these books by James Patterson that I absolutely adore, they have high-speed car chases in the middle of New York. I've been to New York. There is no way you can get a car chase in New York. It's just, no, not real. But you like the thrill of it. You like to think, wow, that could really happen, but at the same time, it's entertaining. Because that's the main thing with books. You want to be entertained. And this book, it was good. It's based around the Holocaust, times like that. As I'm sure you could guess by the Tattooist of Auschwitz. It is based around World War II and the Holocaust. But for me, I felt as though not much happened until 3/4 of the way through. It felt as though time had passed, things had occurred, but the way it was written, it was very segmented, like this happened, then this happened, and then a few months passed, and then this happened. And you're like, well, okay, it's not really entertaining me that much. Then 3/4 of the way through, things I felt started to happen. The plot really got into a flow. I don't know whether that was more of the fiction coming into it, because this book is based on a true story of a man named Lael. The story is true, but I think the author does mention quite early on that some of it has been embellished. It is partly fictional, but based on his story. And I think the fictional side, although the story may have been true, she had more ability to be fictional towards the end, and I really, really enjoyed the end. I feel as though the last quarter of the book was perhaps my favourite. The first 3/4, things happened. I enjoyed some bits. I really didn't enjoy others. Sometimes I found it a really big struggle to carry on. But I continued with it because I thought it's part of my book club. I have to do it. I wanted to get to the end of this because it is not typically a book I read. And quite honestly, I wanted to challenge myself to make sure that I did it. And as I've said, the last quarter of it was fantastic. I absolutely loved it. That's where my top bits come in, and it's difficult because I can't really explain why I loved it so much without going into detail, and the details will give away spoilers of the end of the book. And if you want to read this book, I really don't want to give spoilers. I'm not going to do a dedicated review or anything on this. I didn't really have enough opinions on the book to do that. I had some opinions, but not really enough to do a dedicated review. For a first book of the year, I'm actually quite proud of myself for doing it. It's definitely a good book for me to start off with. And it is different. I really did enjoy it, I have to admit. Once the pace got going, I enjoyed it more. But even in some of the slow bits, I thought, you know what? It's actually not as bad as I expected. So that's pretty much where I'm at this week. The book, fantastic book. If you want to read it because you like historical fiction, I would definitely recommend it, because I enjoyed it and I don't like historical fiction. If you're not really into historical fiction, I'd give it a go. I would definitely recommend giving it a go. If you get, what's 100 pages? Oh no, it's only 200 pages, the book itself, so let's not do that. 55. Okay. Can you read that? Chapter 4, page 55. I'd say recommend go up to chapter 4. If you're not really into it, maybe just give it a miss, to be honest. If you are enjoying it, continue, because honestly, when you get to the end, you love it. Now, there's something I must mention with the characters of the book. I do enjoy the characters. I thought they was great. However, I will mention this loads of times because it seems to be an ongoing theme with me. I don't really enjoy the main characters of a book. I find them quite dull. The main characters of this book, they were fine. There's no issues with them. There's no reason why I didn't like them in any way. I thought they was nice people. Personally, I just have a thing with books where I feel that if you're the main character of a book, there is no risk. You are okay until the end of the book. Otherwise, the book would be a hell of a lot shorter than it actually is. And I tend to like secondary characters more because anything they do can lead to something. Especially with a darker book, because you never know where it's going to go. In a thriller or a mystery or a horror, with secondary characters, you don't know whether they're going to make it to the end. With primary characters, with the people, like this book is based on a man named Lael. Lael, pretty much 100% safe until the end of the book. At the end of the book, he could die, because that's the end of the book. You never know, do you? Until you get there. But before that, you're like, yeah, anything you do, you might have consequences for other people, but anything he does, he will stay alive. He will stay relatively safe. He might be put in some danger, but you know he'll get out of it by the end. So that's what my opinion is on characters. I tend to really like some of the smaller characters, and there are some characters in this. There's a character called Leon. Love him. If you've read the book, you know who I mean. Character called Nadia. Love her. Absolutely adored her. One of my favourite characters in the book, actually, and she didn't even appear until midway through. All of Gita's friends. Gita is the love interest for this book. Is actually, I don't even think I mentioned that. It is actually a love story set in Auschwitz, and I think that's quite nice because it was different, because it didn't drill on the war part of it. The war was happening. We was all aware that this war was happening. But it focused on how Lael felt about this girl and his determination to survive, to be with this girl. And it led to a really good story. So yeah, Gita is the girl Lael was in love with. And she had a group of friends in this book. Absolutely adored all of her friends. They was fantastic. But Lael and Gita, he was like, well, you know, again, until the end, they're relatively safe, because if Gita died in the first 10 pages of this book, Lael would just give up and he'd have died, wouldn't he? He'd have just said, no, I'm done. She's gone, I'm going. So you knew pretty much them two, they was going to be safe up until the end. At the end, that's where it got thrilling, because you didn't know whether they was going to survive, whether something would happen, whether they would die, whether they would actually be together. And you were rooting for them to be together all the way through. Well, I was anyway. But yeah, absolutely loved all of the secondary characters. Towards the end, I start loving the primary characters, and this did happen with this book, I have to admit. But yeah, that's where I'm at with the book. Hopefully that made some sort of sense. So the next book I read after that was The Cornwalls Are Gone. I think that's what it's called. It's very difficult for me to remember, as you can see. It's this book right here. It's called Out of Sight in the UK. That's what the UK version of it is. So it's either called The Cornwalls Are Gone, The Cornwalls Vanish. I think there's a load of different names that it has been released as in other countries. But that was my next book after The Tattooist of Auschwitz. I've already put the vlog up for that one because I needed to put a video up, so I'd already done that. I'd put that one up earlier, and I will be posting a dedicated review within the next couple of weeks for that one. So probably the next time you'll see me, I'll be doing another reading vlog for the week of the 15th to the 21st, which is only recently gone, so I'm not actually behind that, and I'll be fully caught up after that one. And I am reading 3 books at that time. I am reading, I think I've mentioned what I'm reading. What am I reading? I'm reading 39 Steps, which is a script. I have to say I haven't even started that yet though, because I just keep thinking it's so short I can read it in one sitting, but I haven't. Peter Pan and The Goldfinch. And I will explain more about them next time I do one of them. I do hope to do dedicated reviews for both The Goldfinch and Peter Pan as well, so look out for those. So that's all from me. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. I post every Monday, Wednesday and Saturday, and I will see you then. Bye!